Hi, everyone. I'm Laura Camerona, author and owner of Wordsworth Repeating. And my background as a child life specialist makes me especially interested in creating books for families who are going through hard things that help support important conversations using words that are easy to understand and supporting a lot of common feelings that children have. And so I started something I call the hospital book list, which recommends books that I think would be helpful for a variety of situations. Please keep in mind that different resources work well for different families. And so I try to include a wide variety of resources. And today I'm going to give you a little more information about some of the books so that you can decide if they're a good fit for your family or for your organization. Today, in honor of National Sibling Day, I'm going to focus on the books that I currently have on the hospital book list that are about siblings. I am adding books to the hospital book list every week, every Wednesday, and so hopefully that sibling support will continue to grow. But these are the books that are currently on the list. So, the first book that I have on the list is called What Happens When My Sibling Has Cancer by Sarah Olsher. Obviously, this book is for families that are coping with cancer. Sarah does a really nice job in this book describing what cancer is in a way that kids can understand. She brings up a lot of common things that families encounter, including chemo and how you feel during chemo, hair loss, and then how you might feel as a sibling and how it affects your family. I would recommend it for early to upper elementary school. The other book I'm adding to the list that's about cancer is called Oliver's Story for Sibs of Kids with Cancer. Oh, this is my kitty Bowser who's joining in today. And this book I included in the list because I really appreciate that it brought up a lot of common issues that families deal with, including not being able to spend as much time together, spending more time with your grandparents, everyone being sad. And so I think it could be helpful. I do want to give a heads up. There are a couple things that come up in the book that might be hard for certain families. In the book, it says that the parents are feeling sad because some people don't survive cancer. If that's not something that you have brought up with your child, that is something to keep in mind. It also talks about how it becomes fun to go visit the hospital, which I think is very common and very true, but it focuses on bringing Beanie Babies for other kids. Having worked in the hospital for a long time, there's a lot of rules about stuffed animals in the hospital, giving things at the hospital. So those would be some things that I would definitely want to be able to point out that might not apply to your child. Another book that I have on the list is called The Perfect Shelter, a children's book about sibling illness by Claire Helen Welsh. This book is a little bit more abstract, but might be a great conversation starter for your family. It talks about two siblings who like to build shelters out in the woods. And one of the siblings starts to not feel well and ends up ultimately going to the hospital and getting a new diagnosis. There is no for sure diagnosis. You don't know what's going on with the child, so it is pretty applicable to a lot of situations. The child that is not sick feels stressed, misses their sibling, worries about their sibling, but ultimately they find that they can build shelters in the hospital room and find some normalcy and find new family joy. And so I think this is a really nice book to read and have a family conversation about how maybe a recent diagnosis or hospital visit has affected families or your relationships. The next book that I have on the list is a book that I wrote, full disclosure. It's called All Siblings Are Important. You can check out my channel for a full reading of this book if you want to hear the whole thing. But it focuses on the concept that all siblings are important. And even though it seems maybe like certain siblings get more attention or need more help, that siblings are special because they're all important and they all need different things, but that they all make each other better. So this is not a fictional story. It's a book that you can read to start conversations maybe in a sibling group or within your own family. The next book is called What About Me When Brothers and Sisters Get Sick by Dr. Alan Peterkin. And this book um, is a story about a child um, who has a sibling that gets sick and how the different things that she experiences, a lot of them being stressful. So she stresses that maybe when she got upset with her brother that caused him to be sick. She struggles with not getting attention and her parents not asking her about school, those kinds of things, which I think are very relevant for a lot of families. It is a pretty serious story. It does not make light or make it playful. It talks about her feelings, and then at the end, the family takes her along to the hospital so that she can kind of understand more, and then takes her out for pizza after so that they can talk about all the things that are important to her and kind of make up for the lack of attention. So for certain families, this is going to be really important and really relevant. It's a great reminder for adults. It is, like I said, a fairly serious story. So that will, depending on your children, might be a good or bad thing. And then the last book was just a fun book I found at the library when I was with my kids. It's called I Wish I Was Sick Too by Franz Brandenburg. It's a family of cats, and one sibling is sick, and the other sibling feels jealous because the sick kitty gets to lay in bed and gets their favorite foods and gets to, do things that seem fun from the outside. And so the other cat is jealous, but then ultimately she gets sick and then realizes that it wasn't very fun to be sick. And so this book would be very applicable for all families because everyone gets sick, and can just be a fun story to relate to and something that everyone can connect with. So those are my current listings for sibling support. If you ever have recommendations to add to the hospital book list, feel free to add it in the comments or email me, and keep following for books about a variety of topics that are applicable to kids in the hospital. Thanks.